today we discuss about using AutoCAD or NetSkeme for hydraulic diagrams. It's a bit strange compared to really completely different technology. So NetSkeme is accessible just on a browser. You type netskeme.com and you can sign up for a free trial. I log in with my username. So really at startup, there is no comparison possible. We speak about a software that is ready to use from beginning. Of course, it requires an internet connection versus a software that is requires a setup, and you must get a license and so on. The other issue that you get with AutoCAD is that in the beginning, if you install for the first time, you don't have any symbol, of course. But since in my history, I found a lot of companies using, having been using AutoCAD or DraftSite, AutoCAD LT, or any other CAD application that you can buy wherever. They've been using for years for hydraulic diagrams. So let me assume that I have a library of symbols. So let me load a tool palette. So I have built for this purpose a ISO 1219 small library, ISO 1219 compliant, with some ISO building blocks and some symbols, which I will use for today's webinar. So this is something that you can do on your own with base AutoCAD. And basically, when you start making the diagram, you just double click and place a symbol in the drawing. And those are ISO 1219 symbol. If you have attributes, we can say we populate the attribute. And we can take the pump. Let's keep the displacement. So it is possible to control everything. And let me put just a group bell housing and motor coupling set and pump. So when we do this, we see that it is very powerful. We can quickly put together a diagram. The second step will be adding some item numbers because we always want some balloons. So I have two different fashion here. Let me put the circle one, and two. Normally, people do not put the item number together with the symbol because otherwise later it is not possible to move it with the balloons. So this is currently a limitation. So in this case, I need to insert symbols and components as well. Let me try to do the same in NetSkeme, and we'll see that for this purpose, there is not much difference. Of course, NetSkeme is ready to use, so we can start with, let me take a sheet size A4. And let me switch off the grid I don't need. We can load the library on the left, and we can start the search in the folder. So of course, this software is designed with a bit of hydraulic knowledge in mind. So all the folder structure makes sense from hydraulic perspective. So you can find folders, subfolders where you can find all symbols. And in this case, I will try to build the same identical item. So here it's my electric motor, and I need my coupling set. Of course, I know where I need to find items. Everybody starting and knowing, being familiar with the software, they will be able to learn quite efficiently. One advantage of NetSkeme is that we already have all the balloons, the item number, which we can move where we want. And we can also do something else which is not really easy with AutoCAD. So we can type in model data information. So let's say that the manufacturer is MP filter, and that's a coupling set. And the pump is maybe with a double click, we can just enter in the attributes. Let's say the pump is a Italian Marzocchi pump, and that's pump fixed displacement. And maybe the motor is ABB, electric motor. Something that is very easy with NetSkeme is the way you can move symbols. So you can just select and use the arrow key from the keyboard. To move items in an AutoCAD environment, this is really a bit strange. It requires, of course, the AutoCAD knowledge. So you need to select, right-click, move, start point, and then point. This is the same approach that is also in our desktop HydroCAD software, which is basically using the same AutoCAD engine. By the way, so far so good. Let's see other advantages where we can have a much better impact with NetSkeme. So let me put some valves here. Well, of course, this dialog is really difficult to arrange. You can slightly customize, you can put symbols in a different way, but at the end, it's difficult to really customize a lot the way you navigate through the library. So now let me put some directional control valve. Let's say that I need 3, and I do copy and position. And let me start making connection lines. So let's say that I need, this template is really ISO compliant, so I can make a pressure line, press L for line and make a connection line. Let me switch snap on, F3, F8, everything that is easy with AutoCAD. And I can, of course, the dots are not there, the jumpers are not there. So let me start making some dots. So I go to my library and place and take my dots. Let me make a tank line. That's not correct, so let's change the layer. That's a reservoir. And let me start creating the tank lines. And of course, let me match properties. I am very good with AutoCAD, actually. I can design very quickly with AutoCAD. The only thing I notice here is that I keep wasting time with drafting commands. So I should be involved in my engineering, in my design of the diagram, while I spent most of the time not placing the symbol, but making connection lines and dots, and I am not done because I need also to make jumpers, if I like. It's not ISO, but people like to see it. So if you make jumpers, and then I can trim connection lines, and let's say that I want to make. So AutoCAD provides very smart tools for making diagrams, for making 2D drawings. So with a bit of experience, you can be very fast, like probably I am doing very fast. Let me also put a cylinder. Let's say that it is here, and another one, and another one, and we want to make some working lines. So this is basically what happens during a standard AutoCAD environment. You can be better, but really you keep wasting time with drawing commands, which for a software for diagrams really you expect it to work much faster. And also you expect that when you move a symbol, if I move this symbol, the connection will not break. This is not happening here. And actually, it is very tricky to make the connection line follow this symbol, even with the AutoCAD commands. It's easy to make vertical. There is a smart command, which I also frequently use with during my HydroCAD demos, which is the AutoCAD stretch. This is easy, although sometimes you end up making inclined connection lines. But moving the cylinder to the right or rotating the cylinder, because maybe you want to rotate, and then you need really to break all the connection line and make the connections again. So let's try to do the same in NetSkeme and see how NetSkeme can be very easy to do the same. Something that is not available in AutoCAD is the possibility to search for components. So I am familiar with some valves. So in this case, I want to search for a 4W6J, which is a similar model codes between HIDAC and Rexroth. And I can just insert my symbol here. So as you see, what I have not done in AutoCAD was adding the balloons. So here I have also the balloon. But the way I could find directly my desired symbol was just a matter of being a bit expert of hydraulics. And we expect that really adopters here are people that do speak hydraulics. That's a term that I normally like saying, you speak hydraulics. Let me change the title block, let's say A3. Let's assume that with AutoCAD, you know how to create title blocks. But here you already find pre-created title block. So moving the symbol with arrow key is very nice. Let's start making some some connection lines. So as you see here, we can just make a connection line from and take the connection type and make a connection. And here we have jumper and dots made on the fly. If we move the lines on the left, the symbol on the left or the right, the connection will not break. Let's copy the same. Well, let's edit and define that this Bosch Rexroth directional control valve. And the model code is a 4W6J, whatever it is. Let me delete and copy the same. So that's really, we can use some of the same snap command. So in NetSkeme, we have a mix of the same AutoCAD interface. So F3, F9, or show grid. This is working fine in NetSkeme as well. We can have a Control C and Control V, so copy and paste, and we can make all the connection lines very quickly. Let me search for a cylinder, a double acting cylinder, and I position it on top here, and let me make some connections. And let me copy. I was saying that it is a bit difficult in AutoCAD to move a symbol, so the connection will not follow. This is addressed in NetSkeme, and when you rotate the symbol, when you rotate right, then the connection are rotating in a much smarter way. And now let's move it, and of course we can stretch the connection line. This is not really easy to do in AutoCAD. Of course, you can do it, and you need a bit of experience with AutoCAD commands. Let's try to bring some complexity. So let me try to define a manifold boundary here. Well, something that is convenient is the ability to group items. So you can just set a set of entities and say right click and group. So now this is behaving easier. So you can select just by one click, and then the symbol will move with the arrow key. If you prefer the AutoCAD environment, you can do that. You can right click, move, start point, and end point. This is like AutoCAD for people very familiar with AutoCAD interface. Still, we have the same approach. But now let's bring an envelope line. So in this case, it's an envelope representing a manifold, and let me put some external ports. So as of now, we don't have a command like in HydroCAD where we automatically break envelope line with external ports, but it is very easy. It's pre-configured, and we can quickly put ports A1. And as you see, I already selected my my size of the port, and I can just recreate the connection. So to recreate a connection, you can just let me copy this entity here. This is my B1 port, and you just select a line, take the endpoint, and connect again. And then we connected this one again. Automatically, it is going now vertically aligned. So really not much work, cosmetic work. Let me copy. It is much easier now to copy all the selection. And let me copy only the ports. And now I want to connect again. At the same time, we can add a P port. Let me rename the names, the ports A2. With a double click on the text, you can directly change the name, A3 and B3. Again, you can move the symbol so that you have room for stretching the connection line. And we put the P port. somewhere here, and we can copy it. Control C, Control V, and we put the T port there. Tank line, if we want a different size, double click, and we can change the size, let's say 3x4, and we can click OK. We can move the port to the right, and we can connect it. Same here, and we connect it. We have commands to align a symbol port. So right click, align symbol port. We can take the this port, align with this vertically. So that is making a straight line. Let's try to do the same with AutoCAD environment. Let me undo. Let me make some room here. Sorry, let me redo stretch. Let me switch on F8. And let me make an envelope. So always using the ISO standard, like the rectangle. I have also my port symbols, which are here. External port. That's my A1. Let's say that it's a G 3x8. Let me copy. And we put it also here. Of course, the line is not trimming with the port, so let me rename everything and change the size. And that was 3x4. And then I need to pay attention to cosmetics. So trim, and again. The latest AutoCAD has a nice trim functionality. This is welcome in the AutoCAD environment because it was very tedious, the command, how it was configured the versions before. But still, as you see, I am wasting time in something that should be handled automatically by a software for making diagrams. So basically, I at the end can make the same diagram as it was in the other in NetSkeme, but with much more effort in terms of time doing 2D drafting command. Now I want to put a relief valve somewhere here, and now this is really challenging. I want to rotate it, so luckily I don't have text applied to this valve, otherwise they will be rotated automatically. And now I really need to make room, and the AutoCAD interface in this case is not helping a lot. So let's make this way. Let me make connection lines. Let me trim it. Let me match properties. Let me copy. And then, yes, I could say, I want to stretch this line and make it down. But now I realize I have the jumpers that are not needed anymore. And that's really irritating me now. So I need to copy, make the line. That's why at the end in the ISO, they say jumpers are not mandatory, but everybody likes jumpers. Simply, it's difficult for a software that is not making them automatically to really handle them. So now let me do the new line again. And as you see, I keep wasting time with commands that are just pure 2D drafting command. This is exactly where AutoCAD is powerful, but is not what we want in a diagram. So let's go back to NetSkeme and insert the relief valve. Now we can search DB10P. I want a HIDAC pilot operated relief valve, and double click. In my AutoCAD, I don't still have built the symbol, I can just flip it vertically. I can make room as I want. As you see, all the connection lines are simply, you can use the snap or not. You can make the connection line go where you want. And all the dots and jumpers are handled by the software. In addition, we can, again, that subsystem, I can move it down, make some room here, and stretch the connection line to make it easier. Move. Of course, if you want to specify a setting, then you can just add the text here. And I want to say 180 bar. If you want to change color, just select a different color. If you want to specify an item number, double click, molecule DB10P 01C and 080V, HIDAC, pilot, operated, relief. I hope I put something that makes sense for my HIDAC friends. And that's okay. Let me add RP10A, PO check, always HIDAC. Oh, so sorry today for using many HIDAC components. And let me move up the cylinders. The connection will not break. Let me stretch the, and now I want to place my PO check valve. And this is HIDAC. PO check valve. And the molecule is RP10A01C, and now really I show my limitation. Copy. Let me just really randomly place. Let's see that I need all the PO check, and let me connect them. Let me make some room here and do some cross pilot. Again. And here really you can cosmetically change and make the diagram look very nice. This is good. I like this new feature that the symbols automatically snap to reduce the number of band that we have in a connection line. And so this way also, and this one, let me move it here. And let me make a connection line again. Sometimes you may have some strange connection line. In this case, it's better really to recreate them. It may be a better idea. Okay, now my diagram is complete. I forgot two connection line here. If you want, you can also automatically renumber your items. So you can just run the item ID, and automatically NetSkeme will renumber all items. Of course, I can do the same with AutoCAD. What I cannot do really in AutoCAD as is now is make a part list. So I can configure my AutoCAD with all the attributes that I want, but for sure I will need some special tools to extract the part list. So as you can see, NetSkeme is able to automatically group identical items if they have the same model code, and making a part list directly. If you need to create additional tables, you can just add a table, let's say 4 columns. Let's say that I need a port table. And port name, type, site. This is not done automatically. We have a functionality in HydroCAD that does that A1 to B3, BSP, G3 by 8, and then we have P, BSP, G1 by 2, and so on. Of course, you can build the tables in AutoCAD as well. With AutoCAD LT, it's really not possible to extract any attribute. But really now to make the same diagram, I would need to work hard. I need to go here and find the PO check and position somewhere using the snap. Of course, now I'm lucky I could live with a pass-through connection line, but then I see the connection line going through the symbol. So really it is a bit annoying. So I should be able to do all my connection again. And still, it's always wasting time for 2D drafting. I see a question. So since we are really ending close to the end of the meeting, flexible hose connection. So we have a symbol for flexible hose in NetSkeme. Let me show you. So hose and connector. Basically, in this case, the symbol is working like any other symbol in the diagram. So you can have the horizontal or vertical. We can put the symbol and connect. So this is the ISO representation for a hose assembly. In HydroCAD, we have functionality to extract a specific hose assembly list. Here in NetSkeme, it's just a component, and it will be added to the part list like all the other components. If there are no other questions, I show you at the end what we produce with NetSkeme. If you need to create some geometries, AutoCAD style, like our reservoir, and maybe you want to represent with a different color, you can do. There are some 2D drafting commands. So in this case, you can really do some basic 2D drafting. Always use F3, F8 like you would do with AutoCAD, and you can copy entities like you will do with AutoCAD and rotate and so on. But really, the purpose here, we are not willing to make a 2D CAD application. We want to make an application for making very quickly, efficiently diagrams for the hydraulic industry. The software is always improving, always faster. I really enjoyed. We had a recent upgrade that made the performance incredibly, really changing from night to day. And we can, of course, download a DWG file. Let me download it. And let me save it into my desktop, my download, let's say, webinar. And we can also download a PDF. So using the arrow, okay, this requires a bit of enhancement. Arrow, I need to select a PDF. We can also export the XF. So let me show you the PDF. The PDF is already black and white, and it's okay. I also double click on the DWG, but I wanted to open in AutoCAD. Now it's opening with my default application, which is AutoCAD. Let me open with the AutoCAD. And that's my webinar diagram. Now it's read-only mode. And this is the diagram. As you see, it is having the same exact geometry, same ISO 1219 symbols. Diagram really looks good. So if at the end you still have AutoCAD as a standard design tool, then it works perfectly well with NetSkeme diagram, because what you produce in NetSkeme is a native DWG file that you can then integrate in your CAD application.